Mr. Happy Living here, and I'm happy to be broadcasting from WYTV7 in the beautiful Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina. Hey friends, imagine how you'd feel living the life you were put on this planet to live, doing work you love, with people you love, in places you love, and all the while creating something of real value to others. It's what I call a life of significance, and I can tell you it's a very happy life. So can Dr. Meighen, and he's my guest star today. Hey, Michael, welcome to the Something Significant show.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate the opportunity.
Awesome. Please tell our audience what you're doing these days to leave your mark of significance on the world.
So I am a physician and have focused my attention on three different things. So precision medicine, really kind of looking at you from head to toe and coming up with plans to help you transform your health. I do regenerative medicine, PRP, stem cells, prolotherapy, and other potential options for trying to heal, orthopedic type issues, to help with sexual health and function, and to help with aesthetics. And then, doing some teaching and some other pieces and really trying to spread the word of this type of treatment and plan.
Give our audience a 1 minute overview of the major differences between their normal doctor experience and your doctor experience.
Right. So the goal with this is to be potentially proactive. Now, typically people are going to come to you for a specific issue. For example, they may be low on energy, or they may have some gut or GI related issues, or they may have some challenges with their hormones, so they're feeling not so healthy. So instead of looking at just one disease process or one specific area like a joint or a back or any of those sort of things, we kind of look at you from head to toe and ask questions in relation to your brain health, cardiovascular health, gut health, sexual health, joint health, you name it. And those appointments can be pretty long, not your typical 5 to 15 minutes. These are about 60 to 90 minutes. And before that, you're going to do a pretty significant intake form and trying to get some pieces of information that you may not always answer in relation to what you would from typical allopathic care or what we call sick care. And then usually we'll use some data acquisition with some blood work. A lot of times we'll do genetic or epigenetic evaluation. We'll look potentially at data from Oura rings or wearables, Fitbits, that type thing. See how you're sleeping, exactly. See how you are recovering, see what your heart rate's kind of doing, and try to put that all in, formulate a plan for you to meet your goals. And basically what I try to do is take them from ground zero, kind of where they're starting, up to superhero, whatever that means to them. For some people, that means playing with their grandkids. For some people, that means they want to do a triathlon. For some people, that means they want their brain to function better because they feel like they're having some challenges, or maybe they've got some dementia or Alzheimer's in the family. It's just a matter of what your goals are. And sometimes those will morph and change. And sometimes, you'll do one thing and then you'll go, hey, I'd like to perform better with recovery from my workouts, or my sexual function is not where I'd like it to be. It's affecting my marriage. I'd like to have some help with that. And the nice part is there's a lot of interplay and overlap with a lot of the things we do. And when you fix certain things, it kind of fixes other things and kind of dovetails and helps the tentacles grow and that sort of thing. So it's a fun piece and a way to really get deep dives into people and really kind of get to know them. When I tell them it's more of a marathon than a sprint. It's not going to be, I'm going to fix you in 1 or 2 visits. It took you a while to get in where you are. It's going to take us a while to make some changes. So usually ballpark about 6 to 12 months, maybe a little longer, maybe a little shorter. Yes, you'll probably feel better short term, but or shorter period of time than that. But it's definitely going to be something where we're hopefully going to have a very long and productive relationship.
So not just a little different, but completely different experience.
Correct. And we're looking more for the root cause of things. We're not trying to just treat symptoms.
Yes,
now,
beautiful.
but to make you feel better in the short term. But our goals are more long term and trying to really help you from, an individual standpoint, to help you with longevity. I want you to live as long as possible and as healthy as possible. I want you to remain independent. I want you to be able to do the things that you want to do for as long as you would like to do them.
Very good. All right, Michael, I'd like our audience to get to know you through what we call our happy formula. So it's capacity plus purpose equals happy. Let's start with the first element. So what are your practices for building personal capacity, whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, financial, emotional? What do you do to create the capacity you need to take good care of yourself and your loved ones and still have plenty left over to give to others?
Right. So I think the foundational pieces for everybody are incredibly powerful and important. Optimal sleep is very helpful. And for everybody, it's a little bit different, but I would say ballpark anywhere from 6 to 9 hours, depending on who you are and how you sleep and how you recover. So I think sleep needs to be non-negotiable. Yeah, when I was younger and, in my residency and not sleeping or sleeping a couple hours a night, I could sort of kind of tolerate it, but there's no way I could do that now. So I think sleep's one of those non-negotiables that we really need to focus our attention on. I do meditate on a fairly regular basis. Typically, I'll use some type of application like Insight Timer or Calm or any of those sort of things, and do some breath work, really just trying to tap into my parasympathetic nervous system, which is kind of your rest and calm and digest, and really try to calm down from that standpoint. I do sauna on a pretty regular basis.
Love it.
Good things and data from that in relation to controlling blood pressure, helping with body composition, energy levels, and that sort of thing. Typically, we'll follow that with some type of cold therapy, whether it be a shower or something along those lines. Like to exercise on a regular basis, typically with some resistance training and some high intensity interval training. I'd like to get out in nature at least 30 minutes a day, if at all possible. Occasionally that's not possible, but definitely a piece that I really enjoy, helps me kind of decompress.
Yeah.
I think important from that standpoint. Those are the big keys. Diet for sure, and intake. I mean, I fast or intermittent fast pretty regularly. I do like to read. I do like to learn. I do enjoy, podcasts. I do enjoy webinars. I love books. I'm not a big fan of Kindle, I'll be honest with you. I'm an
I
old
love
school
Kindle.
kind of guy. But I like to have the book. I like to mark it. I like to dog ear it. I like to highlight it and take notes and do all the things from that standpoint as well. So anything just to try to keep me centered and kind of keep me going. Like anything or anybody, or looking for any group that you want to work with or be a part of, I think they need to take care of the people in the group. They need to empower those folks. And, physician burnout's kind of a huge thing and has been for a while, much more in this COVID mess that we're dealing with. So, it's important, I think, and not just for physicians, but for everybody to really try to help themselves as much as they can.
That'll take us into the next section here. Let's talk a little bit about a capacity building concept called Kaizen, because it can really help with you building your capacity. It's a Japanese idea that small incremental improvements add up over time to yield great big results.
Right.
So as a personal practice, it means there's always something you can do better tomorrow than you did today. And I love it because it keeps me moving forward in some ways every single day. So can you just share with the audience how that concept of small incremental improvements are utilized in your life?
Sure. So again, I mean, I think it's I know you probably remember John Fox, who used to coach the Panthers, and I was in Carolina as well. He always had the statement that we're all day to day, which is true. I mean, it's you don't know how you're going to feel from day to day, and every day you're not going to feel perfect when you get up. You're not going to have maximal energy. You're not going to be exactly where you want to be. That's going to be more of the rarity and the exception. However, you still have to manage and deal with some of those challenges and issues. So I think, similar things we talked about there, the sleep, the diet, all the pieces I think of that are very important. And I think using your time wisely, if you have a long commute, then I think that's a good time to do some things in the car, whether it's listen to a podcast or listen to, a business type discussion, or any other pieces that can add to what you're doing and how you're doing it. And like anything, you may not see big changes on a day-to-day basis. For example, if you start doing some exercise on a regular basis, yeah, in the beginning, you're going to be sore, you're going to be uncomfortable. Yeah, you're going to see some changes pretty quickly. But as you get in that 60 to 90 day range, you're not going to see the gains that you would have been seeing in those short period of time. So that's where those little incremental pieces are. It's kind of like investing in anything or investing in a 401k. Early you start, the more consistently you put things in, the more accountable you are, the better you're going to be toward the end, typically.
Dollar cost average your life right there.
Yeah, exactly. So I think all the pieces from health to relationships to your relationship with your significant other. Financial piece, I think, is a huge part. And some people have that dialed in. Other people don't even look at it. They're always worried about their finances and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Working with a group of men that I just joined that we're kind of going through all those pieces. And it's nice to write all those down and kind of get an idea about what is your philosophy, what is good, what is bad, what is challenged, what is just a 5-alarm fire that you may need to really address and kind of keep yourself relatively balanced from that standpoint. So, if you can't go out and, say you can't go out and lift weights one day, well, if you got a chance to walk 5 or 10 minutes, it's not perfect, but by the same token, it's movement. It's definitely going to be of benefit and is going to move you in a positive direction for the most part. So
it benefits your body, but it also benefits your mind and your spirit because you are doing something. You're adapting and you're doing something positive.
Right.
And not, what I learned is not stressing out about the fact that I can't work out, because that stress, that creates the same bad stuff that you're trying to improve in your life. So let's move to the second element, purpose. In my book, Turning Inspiration into Action, I explore, excuse me, how many major life transformations and discovery of purpose seem to come from devastation. Addictions, disease, death, disaster, some big crisis shakes a life. But I've used a happier way and discovered purpose in my life through inspiration. So how about you, Michael? Was there a specific moment or an event or a crisis or some inspiration that revealed to you the purpose you were put on this planet to live?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to 8th grade. So I was playing football and it was in between our first and second game. First game, had a really good one, first touchdown, all that good stuff. We were riding high. We had a good team. We were going to be, playoff bound, those sort of things. We scrimmaged as junior varsity. I went up for a pass, got hit from the side, my right leg, and broke the tibia and fibula with the 2 lower bones up near the growth plate, which is high up toward the knee. So I was in a cast for 8 weeks and, got out of that, got back to activity, was getting ready to start basketball season, went back in and followed up my orthopedist and found out that part of the bone was growing and a part wasn't. So it was starting to grow off at an angle. So they had to go into my left knee and kill the growth plate so my legs wouldn't be too much of a different length, and then go in and do an osteotomy, which is basically cutting the bone and stapling it and straightening it. So it introduced me to a few things. Orthopedics for sure got me into physical medicine and physical therapy, and kind of piqued my interest. And basically, the bad thing turned out to be a good thing because that kind of led me into medicine, and that's what got me into musculoskeletal care and some of the other things from that standpoint. So,
are you the first doctor in the family?
I am.
Yeah. So it was really just that experience turned you onto it and gave you not only the inspiration to pursue it, but also the knowledge at a young age that most 8th graders and high school kids didn't have.
Right. I mean, I always loved science and always enjoyed that part of it and learning and that sort of thing, but had no clue what I wanted to do. But after that, I was pretty well set that was going to be my life path and my career path.
Was there a doctor that did it for you, or is just the whole process?
Yeah, I mean, my orthopedic surgeon, I remember him well. His name was Dr. Thompson. He was the team doctor for the University of Akron as well, the Zips, and a great guy, wonderful, good bedside manner, and just a very pleasant human being. And
so he made a personal impression on you.
He did. Yeah. And, it's even a more odd story. So after he did my surgery, when he cut the bone and So soon afterwards, I learned that he was admitted to the hospital and had to have back surgery because he had a disc issue after that. So
Goodness,
it was weird because I actually went and visited him.
that's funny.
It is. So, but just a really good human being. And he worked on my dad. My dad has some orthopedic and knee issues too. So he kind of worked on the whole family, to be honest with you. But yeah.
Oh, good. I'm
So
glad I asked that because I didn't know that part of your story.
yeah. And I think one other thing. So when I did go to England in between my junior and senior year in college and did some work at the University of Salford and just outside of Manchester, there was a group I joined where we go out on Saturday and pick up, handicapped kids. They were either mentally handicapped or physically, and we'd take them and, go out and go to the park, or we'd go to, I remember we did some water activity one day and some other things, and just the absolute joy with them, and just, getting together with others and doing some fun activities just really impacted me positively. And I think the other thing is we always think that we've got problems, we've got issues, and I'm not downplaying anybody's perspectives on that, but most of us are able to do and function quite well. So part of me kind of pushing forward is the fact that these kids were dealt kind of a tough hand in life, and with what I was available and able to do, I really wanted to optimize what gifts I was given and try to help as many people as possible. So that was another great thing that I look back on, and it makes me smile each time I do it. So
Good. Okay, Michael, let's take a commercial break because I want to tell everyone about three things: an online course that helps people discover their purpose and then design their life around it, and how they can save $100 on the enrollment fee. Mr. Happy Living here. I love good things made for good people. That's why I love Happy Living's online e-course. It's an 8-week-long deep dive into you and the inspired life you want to live. The life you were put here on this earth to live. The one that you and only you can live. 8 weeks of lectures and ideas and topics and supporting materials and powerful self-improvement tools. All designed for you. All designed to help you create the tools and the power and the confidence you need to discover your purpose and to discover the life you were meant to live, and to feel incredibly inspired and motivated to decide you will live your life to its fullest. It's all designed to help you create the unique and distinct philosophy of you and your inspired life. Go to happyliving.com, select our e-course, and save $100 with promo code WYTV7. And for every enrollment, I'll donate another $100 to WYTV7. For $300 and about 30 hours, I promise you'll never, ever be the same again. And we're back, and this is the Something Significant Show, and I'm Matt Gersper. Hey friends, we created our e-course just for you, to help you create the space you need to become self-inspired, to achieve your unique greatness on your own terms, and to leave your very own mark of significance on the world. In just 8 weeks from today, we could be celebrating a new you and your inspired life. But for now, let's get back to my guest star, Dr. Michael Meighen. Hey, Michael, I recently stumbled upon this article called "The Science Behind the Power of Giving" on lifescience.com. And it seems that the act of giving itself can be a gateway to discovering your reason for being on this planet. It says compelling scientific data supports the notion that giving of one's time and talents and treasures is a powerful pathway to discovering purpose, transcending difficulties, and finding fulfillment and meaning in life. So I updated the formula to capacity plus purpose plus giving equals really happy. So what do you think, Michael, from your life experience, has giving your time and talents and treasures been a powerful pathway for discovering your purpose and transcending difficulties you've faced, and for bringing about fulfillment and meaning into your life?
I would say absolutely, Matt. And I think one of the big joys I have is teaching, medical students, residents, fellows, any of those sort of thing, where you're really trying to give back from the folks that taught you, and also trying to teach them a different way of doing medicine, which vast majority of folks, similar to what we talked about before, may not even be aware of. I wasn't aware that there were alternate paths and ways
Mhm.
that you could move forward. So I enjoy that. I really like teaching my clients, my patients, and anybody else that I come in contact with in relation to the things I'm doing or that I've read or any of those sort of pieces as well. And then, always, doing any type of coaching of a sport, or working with kids or high school kids, or even, older adults, be it things like golf or any of that sort of thing as well. So those things I enjoy and are quite fun, and definitely I think it feels good. I mean, makes you smile and makes you happy. I mean, especially when you get the feedback, and they've learned something new, or maybe they've added a new skill, or maybe
Yeah.
you've kind of even changed their perspective a little bit. I enjoy my tribes, don't get me wrong, but I also like to get into other areas that either people that think maybe a little bit differently than I do, or maybe have a little bit different perspective, not to the point where we're yelling and screaming at each other. That's not what we need, but
Yeah.
just kind of to feel somebody else's pathway, kind of get an idea about where they came from and what they had to experience, and get an idea about, different ways to maybe look at something. I think that's incredibly helpful, powerful, important. So I think, listening, unfortunately, has become a lost skill.
It's
So
like
I think,
stretching your attitude, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Or your
absolutely. I mean,
knowledge or your experience. Yeah.
there's not one right or wrong way for apps. I mean, there's a lot of gray in between. I mean, going back to the sports analogy, I mean, how many baseball swings or how many golf swings do you see? A
Mhm.
lot. What's the
Mhm.
key? Get your
Mhm.
bat to the ball, or the golf ball
Yeah.
to the club,
Yeah.
and hit it.
Yeah.
So there's many different ways to do that. So I think that's important to kind of get an idea on, because you're not right and they're not right. It's a nuanced kind of conversation. So I think that's part of what's been lost to some degree in our country, with how everybody's in their own little corner, and there's minimal in the middle where we're trying to meet and do things. There's some people, and I think that's important, and hopefully that will continue. But um, I intentionally try to get myself in some uncomfortable situations for those reasons. So
So the science behind the power of giving. I think we veered off that just a little
a little
bit.
bit, you're right.
Yeah. Um, can you give us 30 seconds? What would you say is the science? When I'm giving, how do I discover purpose? How do I get these good feelings and of
Right.
fulfillment in my life? What's the science behind it from your perspective?
Right. I think it's similar to what we get, when we're scrolling on Facebook and those sort of things. We get
Mm,
those little dopamine hits. So I
okay.
think it's a little bit of a bigger dopamine hit, where you're getting those neurotransmitters that are flooding those areas and just hitting those happy receptors, which is kind of
Yeah.
right up your alley.
Yeah.
But I think it's more powerful than that, because it's not just something that's real quick and short. It's something that I think continues to give as you move forward.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to look at, some of the literature in relation to, cancer patients and that sort of thing, I mean, the biggest keys with them recovering is mindset,
Yeah.
and how connected they are with either their family or community. It's not the medicine, it's not
Yeah.
chemo, it's not radiation, it's not any of those sort of things. So
Yeah.
very, very similar to what you are talking about. And their mindset, their gratitude, their energy and that sort of thing, if they can keep it positive, I mean, their outcomes can improve,
Yeah.
and or their stress levels decrease, and a
Perfect.
good number of things from that standpoint too. So there is very good data in relation to that, even looking at prayer and some of the other things
Yeah.
from that standpoint as well. So I think it's always good to do some type of gratitude practice, be it journaling, be it praying or speaking it out, or
Yeah.
whatever you feel like is appropriate. But just simple things, holding the door for somebody,
That's
um,
it. Yeah.
saying
Kindness.
hello.
Yeah. Kindness. And yes,
You
right
know,
on. So that's the science. I'm not a science guy. I'm an experience guy. And what I've experienced is the real magic of life comes from the fourth element of significance. And that is not just giving, but doing work that creates value to others. The magic comes not from getting more, but from giving more. But, and this is the big but, it's not just the giving that's magical. What I've been learning is it's when you're giving from living in your purpose. That's where the real magic is.
Right.
So Michael, tell us, how does it make you feel when you're giving to others, doing the work you were put on this planet to do, and a client says, and this is a direct quote, "I was so broken down and my body and health were failing after 10 years of extreme hustle, building my business, and more than 30 years of extreme sports such as college baseball and rugby." I have an issue on baseball being an extreme sport, but Dr. Meighen did hormone treatment for testosterone, thyroid, DHEA, and regenerative treatments on my knee and back. Now, after more than 15 years of chronic pain, I'm completely free of pain and any other health concerns. Thank you, Dr. Mike. What does that do for you?
Well, that's definitely a big dopamine hit for sure. I mean, it definitely is important. And, I think in asking your question, I mean, I think the beauty of it is having other people spread the word, either about you or about people that do similar work to you.
Mm-hmm.
And, we can't treat everybody. I don't pretend that that's it. I'm not, going to hoard all these people and that sort of thing. I mean, I want to have folks that I know and work with, and if they've got a specific talent or even a similar talent and live in a different area, I can definitely say, hey, I know the person for you. So
Yeah.
I think that's part of having that collaborative network and having folks that do very similar things to what I do, but other folks that maybe do things a little bit differently. For example, we've got some colleagues that we work with that are really good with brain health issues and thinking type problems and can help from that standpoint. Got some people that are really good with acupuncture and treatments for challenges getting pregnant. I mean, there's all kinds of different things, gut health related issues, chronic
Mm-hmm.
Lyme, you name it. So I think the biggest thing that, I have taken and kind of gotten better with doing in my younger years, I was not, is trying to create and build those relationships and trying to really spread the word. And I think as we have a quorum of people doing that, it's only going to get louder and louder and louder.
Yeah.
And, everybody will have to listen, be it politicians or hospital executives or
Yeah.
you name it. So I think that's the important piece. And
Yeah.
again, everybody has their power, everybody has their gift. It's just a matter of you trying to cultivate that, find it, and again, having people give back and kind of growing this locally. And I think as we do that, we're gonna see some things regionally and nationally and that sort of thing as well.
Very good. Good stuff. Well, let's wrap things up here with a lightning round. I love reading a few of my very favorite quotes and then have you respond telling us what it means to you. The very first thing that pops into your mind. So this is from Michelangelo. "The sculpture is already complete within the marble block. Before I start my work, it's already there. I just have to chisel away the superfluous material."
To me, that basically says that everybody has their form or their purpose or their power. It's just a matter of uncovering that and letting that come out. And that could be anybody. That could be a spouse that helps you do that. That could be a coach that could help you do that. That could be, a colleague. But I think it's basically uncovering each of our superpowers. And the idea is to keep looking, keep searching for that. I mean, we all have it in us. It's just a matter of finding it and then living according to that purpose.
It's a little bit how you doctor, isn't it?
Yeah,
You get rid of the stuff that's not serving the patient and the patient heals himself or herself.
exactly. I agree.
Dr. Michelangelo.
Yeah.
Okay, this one's from comedian Aries Spears, and he says, "To sustain longevity, you have to evolve."
Yeah, I mean, I think same thing. I mean, you're not the same person you were in your teens or 20s, at least I hope not. And I think it's always transformation. It's always a growth pattern. It's always learning new things, new ideas, new thoughts, different perspectives, those type things. And I think it's very important to be open. Things change. I mean, things that were great in the 60s, unfortunately, are not great now. And we've all seen the evolution and change. And I think it's important to continue to do that. We've all seen people that peaked in high school and didn't do anything beyond that. We've seen people that peaked in college, didn't do anything beyond that. We've seen people that peaked in their 30s or 40s. We've seen people that are peaking in their 70s or 80s. I mean, Colonel Sanders didn't get his business started till he was like 65, 68, somewhere in that ballpark. So again, I mean, it's a number, and the goal is just to keep, chopping wood. And
I like peaking every decade.
Yeah. I don't see any reason
just keep on peaking.
Yeah.
All right. So the last one, this is kind of the show anchor. Whatever, it's from Goff. Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now.
I agree. I mean, we can all talk things to death. I mean, we all come up with great ideas and thoughts, and hey, wouldn't it be great if we all did X? The biggest thing is to implement, whatever that means. You got to start somewhere. I mean, if you're going to make a snowball, you got to start making it somehow, some way. And as it starts to gather, it makes it, bigger and bigger and bigger. So I think the biggest thing is to take action and implement, even if it's not perfect, even if it's not exactly the way you want it to be. We all fail. That's part of growth. I mean, Michael Jordan had the famous quote, "I've failed so many times, that's why I succeed." Thomas Edison basically said this. I mean, most, people that are great, or we say are successful, have had many failures along the way, and it's taken them, different paths and that sort of thing. So we just have to embrace that and understand that, okay, I learned something there. I won't necessarily make the mistakes, hopefully, in the future, but I can add to my cadre of things in my toolbox. And wisdom is incredibly powerful and important. So act. That's the biggest take home from that.
Yeah, very good. Okay, now folks, it's your turn. So if you can hear my voice and you were inspired by today's show with Dr. Michael Meighen, please share some love with our fantastic broadcast team and donate what you can to WYTV7. They're a 501c3 charity on a mission to educate, empower, and encourage. They do good works with your kindness. And Michael, I just love your focus on helping people who are dissatisfied with their current doctors and the current system, whose primary goal seems to be maintaining disease rather than restoring and optimizing health. And I admire your non-conventional approach that customizes every treatment plan for every individual patient using evidence-based interventions to restore, regenerate, and rejuvenate the client, allowing them to live an optimized and limitless life. And I'm grateful for your powerful voice on our show today.
Well, thank you, Matt. I appreciate the time, and I appreciate you. I've been inspired by your work, and we'll continue to be so.
Well, thank you. You want to take a minute and share any parting remarks you'd like to leave with our audience?
Yeah, I mean, I think goals moving forward are to act, implement, and live according to your passion and your power. I mean, I think a lot of us, unfortunately, take a role that society says is the right way for us to go. Don't be afraid to be a salmon swimming upstream a little bit. Do you have to on everything? No, that's not necessary, but live according to you and your power. And I think that's going to serve you well. I mean, you can look yourself in the mirror at that point and understand that, it's going to be some challenges along the way, but that's part of the gig. So.
Yep, right on. Listen to your heart, because your heart knows where your happiness is. Thank you, Michael. And
Thanks,
I also want to thank WYTV7 for hosting and promoting our show so we can keep interviewing inspiring guests like Michael and reaching folks like you out there ready to create your own extraordinary lives. A special thank you to our sponsors, The Philosophy of You and Your Inspired Life, and Happy Living. Remember, I'll donate $100 for each and every enrollment using promo code WYTV7. So tell all your friends too. Go to happyliving.com, select our e-course, and enroll together as a group. Most especially, thank you, viewers and listeners. You'll find links to websites and social media and all things Dr. Michael Meighen. Find him, friend him, buy his #1 best-selling book, A New You, or join his mailing list to stay in touch with the most recent evidence-based research on the topics of health optimization and longevity. It's all available at livelimitlessmd.com/Dr. Mike. That's all one word, livelimitlessmd.com/DRMIKE. And from me to you, dear friends, I love you and I want you to be happy. I want you to live your life to its fullest, to believe as I do that a better self is always possible today and every day for the rest of our lives. And I hope you're feeling motivated and super confident and really bold too, and ready to take action and start discovering your unique and distinct reason for being on this planet, because that's how you're going to make your mark of significance on the world. And the world is waiting to hear from you. Till next time, I'm Matt Gersper. You are awesome. And this is a Something Significant show. And we're out.